For 2 decades, a specific promise dominated corporate strategy. Digital advertising, with its granular targeting and measurable returns, is the most efficient engine for growth. Guided by that logic, marketing budgets shifted. Between 2009 and 2024, capital drained out of traditional media channels like television and print, pouring into digital platforms until they accounted for over 90% of some corporate spends. But the long-term revenue data shows a discrepancy. Procter & Gamble, one of the world's largest advertisers, moved aggressively into digital, yet their compound annual growth rate over that 15-year period was 0.6%. This pattern repeats across industries. In the automotive sector, Nissan shifted nearly all of its advertising budget to digital channels. Their 15-year growth rate yielded just 0.9%. Across multiple sectors, the heaviest investors in digital advertising platforms were often the same companies seeing the most modest returns. For the world's largest brands, high digital spending and low revenue growth became two sides of the same coin. If these budgets aren't driving the expected growth, we have to look at what happens when a company simply stops spending. eBay tested this by shutting off paid search advertising across a third of the United States. They expected a significant drop in traffic, but sales volume remained unaffected. The drinkware brand Simple Modern ran a similar experiment, turning off $10 million in Amazon ads. Their purchase volume continued without a dip, as organic customers found the products they were already intending to buy. Uber eventually realized a similar reality. After turning off $120 million in paid app install campaigns, the rate of user downloads didn't change. When sales continue even after the ads go dark, it suggests a structural error in how credit is assigned. These companies were paying for transactions that would have occurred without the additional spend. To find the root of the problem, we have to separate demand capture from demand creation. Demand capture is the act of intercepting someone who is already looking to buy. Demand creation is the process of making someone want a product for the very first time. Digital marketing thrives on a concept called measurability bias. Because individual clicks can be easily tracked and immediately linked to sales, platforms are often credited with total influence, even when merely catching a customer at the end of their journey. This user journey flowchart shows the illusion. A customer intending to buy searches for the brand, but clicks a sponsored ad at the top instead of the organic link. Under last click attribution, the platform claims full credit, artificially inflating dashboard efficiency without generating actual intent. These dashboards encourage CFOs to fund transactions that were already going to happen, paying for the final step rather than generating new interest. This pie chart illustrates hyper-targeting, squeezing the 1% turnip. Algorithms relentlessly hammer this tiny fraction of existing shoppers with retargeted ads to keep acquisition costs low, ignoring the other 99%. They were often the brands that refused to abandon broad-reach media. Progressive Insurance is a primary example. They allocated more than half of their advertising budget to broad-reach television campaigns. Their 15-year compound annual growth rate reached 11.6%. Geico maintained an even higher ratio, keeping roughly 78% of their budget in TV. By consistently building awareness at scale, they secured significant, compounding long-term growth. Incremental growth happens when a brand builds trust and familiarity long before a consumer ever types a query into a search engine. Digital marketing is not useless. It is simply a catcher. It is highly effective at harvesting the demand that already exists in the system. But a catcher requires a pitcher. Broad reach awareness creates new demand at the top of the funnel for the digital catcher to harvest. Sustaining growth requires a balanced media diet. Successful brands kept 20 to 50% of their budget for broad reach awareness. Building enterprise revenue means moving past the high of short-term dashboards. It requires funding the untargeted awareness today that secures the customers of tomorrow.